Hello and welcome everyone to today's video covering IoT connectivity. My name is Stefan Sorrel. I am co-founder of Kaleido Intelligence and lead research analyst for the IoT connectivity portfolio. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Luigi Capobianco from floLIVE. Luigi, why don't you say hello quickly and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, Stefan. Thanks for hosting me today. So as you said, I'm Luigi Capobianco. I'm head of Europe and Middle East at floLIVE. I've been here for 3.5 years, and I have a previous history in MNOs and MVNOs, always focused on IoT connectivity.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to have you on today's video. Of course, we're covering a survey report that Kaleido produced in collaboration with floLIVE, really diving deep into IoT connectivity. Over 200 MNOs and connectivity service providers interviewed within this survey. But I mean, when you look at those survey results, what was the least surprising thing that you saw from the market there?
So, in my opinion, I think what surprises me the least is the fact that the vast majority, I think it was about 98% of the respondents, of the providers that were interviewed, confirmed or said that, in their opinion, roaming alone is not the right fit for IoT. And only a small minority said that actually roaming SIMs or global SIMs, as they were called, are a real solution. Honestly, I think that makes sense. And it may be, in my opinion, that it makes sense today because things have changed and devices have changed and applications have changed. I always keep in mind 2018, 2019, it feels ages ago in the IoT world, but it's not that long ago. I remember clearly POS devices, which were still mainly GPRS 2G devices. When I was at Vodafone IoT, we had customers with a lot of POS devices consuming 2 to 5 megabytes a month. That was it, right? That was the consumption. Today, the average POS device is a full Android smartphone with a roll of paper in it, right? And an NFC antenna. And it consumes hundreds of megabytes a month. And these applications, they do have minimum latency filtering. If the latency is too high, the application doesn't work properly, or some cases it doesn't really work. So today and going forward even more, roaming became not the right solution for IoT because IoT evolved, became more demanding, more complex, and this will keep going forward. On top of this, if you add the fact that geopolitical situations have shifted and therefore permanent roaming bans are common, they are becoming more and more common, and that the world is a different place today than it was 5-6 years ago. We all need to adapt to these two, and unfortunately, global roaming SIMs probably are not the answer anymore, as we can see from the survey.
Okay, so I mean, if a total reliance on roaming isn't the answer for today's IoT connectivity requirements, what should IoT service providers be doing instead?
So one thing that for sure I think we all understood by now is that there is no one size fits all in IoT, right? Probably many other solutions. So it really depends on the use case. There are use cases that may still be able to use roaming SIMs, global SIMs, the 901 kind of IMSIs. It could be a container tracking device, right? But even there, it's nice to see, and it's interesting to see that even there, the need for satellite non-terrestrial network is growing, right? And in some cases, you cannot have satellite non-terrestrial just as roaming. Now new things are coming up, new regulations also are coming up. So I think depending on the use case, in my opinion, to have an efficient, globally homogeneous kind of performance, which allows providers to meet the demands of the growing IoT use cases, in my opinion, a combination of multi-IMSI with global distributed networks, so with multiple local breakouts, is probably the best match with the demands. It allows devices to behave again homogeneously around the world. Performances are homogeneous. It allows users to use the same SKU, the same component globally, even in countries with permanent roaming bans. It allows to, therefore, also avoid regulatory restrictions. And big use cases like automotive, governmental projects, healthcare, payment systems have all very similar needs that we see are getting answered by this combination of, again, multi-IMSI and global distributed networks with multiple breakout points.
Yeah, those are great points. I mean, previous surveys we've done, 1,000 enterprises and OEMs specific to IoT. I mean, 78% of that audience who've adopted cellular IoT actually said, things like local or regional breakout are either high or highest importance to their IoT strategy. So it's really no longer optional for providers, right? But that's today. What about moving forward?
We all know about the SGP32. No, there's a hype positive hype about it. It hopefully will simplify a lot the connectivity scenario, right? Meaning that it will give users, enterprises, it will give them more power, more freedom, right? I think that a combination between SGP32 in the shape of iSIM or standard SIMs, no, but in any form factor, but SGP32 combined with connectivity management platform aggregators, meaning, of course, once you're using SGP32, and ideally, we're talking theoretically, you're jumping from provider to provider depending on where you are, where your devices are. You need one thing which is very important. You need everything to be under the same umbrella. It would be a nightmare because we saw it already in the market and it didn't work very well. It would be a nightmare to start jumping from a billing system to another, from a rate plan to another, as soon as your device moves to another profile. So in my opinion, if we combine what I said before, multi-IMSI, distributed networks, on top of this, we add another layer of freedom, let's say, which is SGP32, then we need to have aggregation. We need to have a platform that allows you to control everything from a single pane of glass, allows you to connect your Vodafone and Orange business and AT&T profiles together with the floLIVE multi-IMSI solution, all in the same place. These aggregators need to be connected to these platforms, of course. The power of the third-party platforms, of the GDSP and the Cisco Control Center, will be leveraged into the single aggregation service. But it's important, and we see it with very large rollouts of smart meters, for example. Many of them have been looking a lot into how do I use a single platform with one login to control everything. So in my opinion, SGP32 will bring this even forward, that the need for aggregators becomes important.
Absolutely. Yeah. We saw the same in the survey, right? So, looking, you mentioned freedom in the context of SGP32. I mean, nearly 80% of our survey audience said that the new specification is far more flexible than the older one. Stands to reason. And then, of course, when we talk about, single pane of glass, CMP aggregation, those kinds of concepts, actually 87% of the survey called it important, with almost 60% saying crucial. So some great points there.
I believe that.
Yeah.
So indeed, Stefan, I believe that. I think it's important. I mean, I acknowledge it's important. We see it every day for customers to have freedom, but also to have centralized control. And again, it's not that we need to have one thing replacing the other. I don't think that's the case. We've seen it before with other USCC standards also. They didn't fully replace the previous solutions, but it's an evolution, right? It's a complementary thing that needs to fit in the journey of connectivity evolution, which went from I buy a USCC SIM card and I need to live with it forever, to I can move around, I can be flexible, I can respond to the demand of my devices in a more proactive way. So I think if we follow this evolution, again, putting in it SGP32, multi-IMSI, distributed global networks that give you homogeneous performance, then we start seeing a truly scalable and future-ready solution for global rollouts.
Okay, good stuff. I mean, okay, so Luigi, I mean, if you had to give one recommendation to connectivity vendors, based on this survey, what would it be?
You need to be flexible. Flexibility is key in this market. Flexibility is key because regulations change, the market changes, because it happened in the past and it happens almost every year that a new provider comes in just with a new pricing model and squanders what you've been building so far. So my first suggestion would be embrace flexibility, because eventually that's what this market needs. We need to do whatever we can, and at floLIVE we really strive to do it, to remove dependency and complexity from providing connectivity to IoT users. And at the same time, we all need to try and simplify the customer experience of the end customer. Let me call it the user experience in the end. We need to try to simplify the user experience. So try to again, remove complexity, stay flexible, and at the same time, you must stay compliant and you must give your customers a future-ready solution.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so Luigi, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your insights. And for those watching today's video, I mean, if you wanted to dive deeper into the findings that we've discussed today, you can check out the full survey report. There should be a link on the bottom of this video. Otherwise, it's also available on floLIVE's resource page. Just go to flolive.net/resources and you'll find the report there. With that, Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stefan. Thanks, everyone.